Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. It's back to school season here for students in the US, so today we're diving into one of my favorite fantasy subgenres, and that are stories that take place in schools, elite training grounds, or magical institutions / academia. So get ready because I am about to recommend 10 fantasy books that take place in academic or school settings. Some of them are dark, some of them are whimsical, and all of them are totally binge-worthy. We're starting out with The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. In this book, we're following a protagonist named Quoth, and he is a legendary figure who is now living a quiet, reclusive, private life as an innkeeper with a different name. When a traveling chronicler finds him, Quoth agrees to tell this chronicler the story of his life, starting with his childhood to being an orphan, his enrollment at this infamous university, and his obsession with learning the truth about this mysterious being known as Chandran. A chunk of this book takes place at the university where Quoth attends. It is a sprawling, prestigious setting of higher academic learning, and it teaches several different things related to the magic system of this world. It teaches a rational magic system known as sympathy, alchemy, and naming, which is a more ancient magic. Some of my favorite parts of this book was where Quoth was at the university, and it does play such a large part of his life that if you are someone that enjoys the magical school setting, especially a collegiate type setting rather than just a boarding school for children or teenagers, then this might speak more to you. Hey guys, if you are enjoying this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well as giving this video a like to throw my channel a little bit of support. Also, I am the independent author of the science fiction book Aftermath, which currently has a 4.4 rating on Goodreads. It is available on Amazon in Kindle Unlimited, ebook, as well as paperback versions. I would love it if you checked it out, support an indie author, and also see if it's a book that might resonate with you. Thank y'all so much for checking it out. Then we have A Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, and yes, I understand this is a multifaceted book with many different plot lines, but a large portion of this series does take place at the White Tower, and the White Tower and the people there are incredibly influential and direct a lot of the different plot lines of the story. At its core, the Wheel of Time series is a story of good versus evil. We are following Rand al'Thor, a boy of humble beginnings who finds out he is the Dragon Reborn, who is destined to save the world. The magic wielders in this series are mostly women, and they are known as Aes Sedai. And Aes Sedai go to the White Tower for training. And these girls come in as novices, are risen in the ranks to accepted before coming full Aes Sedai once they've completed their training. A lot of the powerful Aes Sedai that rule from the White Tower are involved in the politics of this world and pull the strings of many of the rulers and leaders of this world. We do follow a handful of female characters in this book that either are attending the White Tower, such as Nynaeve and Egwene, as well as the leaders of the White Tower, such as Siuan Sanche, and then Moiraine, one of the most influential characters in this book, who is a graduate of the White Tower. Next, we have the Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff. This is a dark fantasy story, and in it we're following a teenage girl named Mia, whose entire family was destroyed by a very corrupt government. After barely escaping execution herself, Mia vows revenge on the people who killed her family. To get her revenge, Mia sets her sights on the Red Church, which is run by the Republic, the corrupt government, and it trains the most deadliest of assassins. The Red Church is a big part of this story and the setting. The students there are called Blades, and they are all trained in a specific assassination technique. This is definitely a dark and brutal world, a dark and brutal school, because it's literally training killers. Then we have the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. In this book, we're following Elle, and she is a student at Scholomance, a school that literally tries to kill its students. Elle is a very sarcastic and antisocial teenager, and she has been prophesied to become this really powerful dark being, but she's trying really hard to hide that knowledge so no one finds it out about her. Scholomance is a little bit different than your traditional magical school because there are no teachers, there are no safe spots, and there are these malevolent beings known as mouths that literally infiltrate the school and can eat students alive. Because of her destiny to become someone dark and evil, Elle is determined to graduate Scholomance without resorting to dark magic, but she soon finds that that might not be possible. Then we have the Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray. This series is a gothic historical fantasy, and it involves Victorian-era boarding schools, supernatural powers, and feminist themes into the plot. The series follows Gemma Doyle, who is sent to a boarding school known as Spence Academy after the mysterious death of her mother, and her mother also attended this academy. Once she gets there, she starts to unravel the mystery of her mother's life. She soon learns that she has magical abilities, which include the ability to enter this magical place known as the Realms. When you think of the school setting and think of Spence Academy, this is a boarding school for girls, so their primary goal is to teach young ladies how to enter Victorian society properly. Through this school, Gemma and some other of the girls are able to access this magical realm. There are secret diaries the girls come across, hidden doorways, and as always, eerie ancient forests beyond the school grounds. I personally found that the Gemma Doyle series was incredibly atmospheric, especially the school setting, and our characters do spend a good amount of time in this setting. So if you like portal fantasy, private boarding schools, high society, and some cattiness between the girls, then this series might be for you. Then we have Anatomy, a Love Story, and this is a historical fiction. It is very loosely historical fiction, but there is a fantastical element in this series, so I wouldn't necessarily classify it as strict fantasy. In this book, we're following Hazel. She lives in Scotland in 1817, and her primary goal in life is to become a surgeon. However, at this time, women were admitted to medical school or allowed to become surgeons, so Hazel has to get creative. She ends up impersonating her dead brother and getting accepted into medical school, but eventually she does get caught, and she makes a deal with the professor that if she passes the medical exams without being taught at the school, then she will be allowed to become a surgeon and enter in a gravedigger known as Jack, and the two of them end up digging up graves so that Hazel will have corpses to practice on. Like I said, there is a fantastical element to this book, but it is heavy in the historical fiction, and I would say out of all the books on this list, this probably spends the least time in the school setting, and there are scenes where she is learning and cutting open cadavers and learning how to suture and all the things. However, compared to like the rest of this book, those scenes are definitely not as numerous. Then we have Gothicana by Runix. This is a standalone romantasy. The story revolves around Covina, and Covina has been accepted to this elite university nestled in these remote mountains. The entirety of the story takes place at this school. The school's name is Beaumont, and as soon as Corvina gets there, she starts to uncover the school's dark history. There are rumors of death, disappearances, and strange supernatural occurrences that Corvina decides to investigate. There she also starts a romantic relationship with one of her professors, and the two of them work together to uncover the school's dark, haunted past. The entirety of this story does take place at this school, so this has this college-type setting. So if you're someone that likes the more mature university-type setting, this might be for you. Then we have Sorcery of Thorns, and while this book doesn't take place at a school necessarily, it does heavily involve a library. Elizabeth works in one of the great libraries of Ostermere. In this kingdom, they have books known as grimoires that are sentient, alive, can talk, and sometimes misbehave, and Elizabeth is a caretaker of these grimoires. Elizabeth dreams of becoming a warden, someone who can protect the kingdom against the dark magic of these grimoires, but somehow one day one of these grimoires is released. Elizabeth is blamed and forced to leave the library that she's always known. To clear her name, Elizabeth must team up with Nathaniel, a sorcerer, and together they uncover a conspiracy that could destroy everything they know, including these magical libraries. So like I said, not a university setting per se, but definitely one that is steeped in academia because of these great libraries, these books, and Elizabeth's job as a caretaker. Then we have A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I have only read this first book in the series, and to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of it. We are following a girl named Diana. She is a witch, and she accidentally uncovers this long-lost enchanted manuscript while doing research at one of Oxford University's libraries. This discovery unleashes a storm of supernatural creatures, vampires, witches, demons, who all want this magical manuscript that Diana uncovered because it holds like the source or origin of their powers. Then we have the vampire character and the love interest whose name is Matthew, and he is also an academic, and in addition to their budding romance, helps Diana with her research and discovery of what this manuscript entails. A lot of this story does take place at the Oxford Library. It's gothic, dark, and atmospheric, and perfect for any fans of dark academia stories. And lastly, we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is another fantasy that has the dark academia trope, but is also one that I didn't really enjoy. And the setting of this book takes place at Yale University. We're following a main character named Alex, who is a high school dropout. She has had to deal with drug addiction in the past, but ironically, she is given a full scholarship to Yale University under one condition. She must join a secret society that oversees these 8 magical houses at Yale, because these societies often perform occult, dangerous, and dark magic. Alex has this unique magical power to see ghosts known as Greys. Alex is forced to navigate through Yale's elite magical society, and she uncovers a murder that may or may not be related to this society. If you're someone that enjoys paranormal type stories or stories that take place in the real world but have an undercurrent of magic, as well as dark academia, then Ninth House would definitely be for you. Okay, you guys, there are 10 fantasy books that are seeped with academia. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these and what you thought of them, or if you have any other fantasy books that incorporate this trope, setting, or subgenre. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in another video soon. Goodbye.